and we'll, okay. So thank you guys for being here. I know some people are going to jump on this call. I just really want to thank Rebekah Fowlkes for joining us tonight, who is a diamond out of Arkansas, right? Did I get that? Okay. I was thinking about the state. She joined in July of 2013, you guys. I didn't join till 2014. And I'm sure you guys know me. We're all laid back here, and I'm like, share whatever you want to share. Rebekah is, to me, so talented in marketing. That's her wheelhouse. I have been in a coaching group with her and Melissa Eichenhorst, and together, the both of them, I knew that's what I needed when, they did a little 3-day group, and I was like, you know what? At this point in my business, where I'm at and how many years I've been in this, like, this is what I need, because we all know social media is like constantly shifting and changing. And I don't ever want that to be an excuse or a reason for you guys to feel stuck or like you can't do this. And so that is her jam. And of course, I threw that out there to her. I thought we can share whatever tonight, but social media is, marketing is really her wheelhouse. And I'm just grateful that she's here. And so she can share, and maybe at the end, or if you guys have questions in the chat, if you don't mind, Chelsea, maybe if anybody has any questions, you can drop them in the chat. But I also, in the chat, once she starts talking, because I don't want to take any more time up, her and Melissa have an amazing podcast. And I have binged every episode. If you guys haven't listened to it, the Ambition Coalition, I'm going to put the link in the chat here. I saw you raise your hand, Shannon. You've been listening to it? It is good stuff. So
I love it.
I don't care where you're at in your business, how long you've been doing this. Maybe you're newer to the team. For those of you that listen after this, or, whoever listens to the replay or on live, maybe you just joined a couple months ago this year. This might have been your first convention. For some of us, it was our 5th or 10th convention. You were going to learn from this girl tonight. So I'm going to shut up now.
So
Rebekah.
sweet. Stephanie, you're so sweet. And I'm so thrilled to be here. And I've loved connecting with you the last several weeks and hearing. I love leaders that are like, I so value learning, and I'm constantly like, what else can I learn? What else can I learn? And so when I'm around other leaders that are like, I don't have it all figured out, like, what can we get in there together? I've had the best time in this group and learning from other leaders, sharing, like, it's been just like the best thing. And so, I could not be more thrilled to be on here with y'all tonight. I will say, I was going to go a different direction until about an hour and a half ago. I'm like cooking dinner, and Stephanie sent me the graphic, and it said Rebekah's doing social media training, which I love social media training, but I'm not as prepared for that as I typically would be with slides and my whole thing. I like a thing. So I'm just, I can go all day on social media, because here's why. I trained on the MGM stage for almost an hour in 2015 to all the silvers about how to do social media marketing. I have trained in Hawaii for all the jewels on how to grow your business on Instagram and Facebook. I've had businesses creating social media coaching and content calendars. I'm doing this, and I love the marketing. And I just want to put you at ease that honestly, what I was training on in 2015 and what I would tell you tonight, it's all very similar. You can get so caught up in, I'm behind, or I need to learn reels, or I don't know how to do the transitions, or I don't know how to grow. And there's these new hacks and tactics and strategies and all the things. And I just want to put you at ease that the truth is, the reason I've always loved social media, that I just geek out over marketing, is it is about people. It's about people. And all it is learning how to speak in a way that people want to listen, and that you're being able to connect with them through your messaging. And your messaging might come in the form of video, or it could come in the form of your stories, or maybe you're a great writer and you're going to hear, different gurus that say it's got to be reels, and you've got to post this many reels a day, and you've got to post 3 times a day, and all the different things. And I think what works for you, I think consistency matters. I think consistency aligns your way to sales. But if that's, you show up 3 times a week, you show up 4 times a week, that you put your face on your stories, that is what matters. People want to know who they're talking to. The reason that this whole thing works is because they are connecting with you. And so being on there, being consistent, that's what matters. And I geek out over Instagram trainings, and I've followed all the gurus, and I try new things all the time, and I watch YouTube trainings, and I have had spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on training and wanting to be awesome at marketing, because I feel like that is just the heart of what we do. I think if you're really great at marketing, you don't have to be as great at sales because then people are like, oh, I just want to buy your thing. I mean, it's when you see a great ad, right? And you're like, add to cart. I don't have to go to a 30-minute webinar. I don't have to be sold to. I know you're speaking my language. You're in my head. I'm going, oh my gosh, I just said that to my friend. And so I think if you read me and Melissa's emails, or you follow some people you follow on social media, there's something in there that you're like, oh, that's my person. I'm totally connecting with them. And so I kind of wanted to hit a couple of the things I hear that I get asked about the most, that I hear my team, even though training on it since 2013, still same questions that are coming up all the time. And I feel like y'all might have some of these same questions too. And then I'm super happy to hang out. And if y'all have other questions, and we can talk there. I'd also just want to say, and I always believe this, if what you're doing is working, don't let me change your mind. Like, there is not one way to do this. I see so many different leaders doing so many different things. I'm cheering all of them on. I'm just teaching you, or talking to you, and sharing what I have. But if something is working for you, keep doing that. If you can sprinkle a little bit of this on there, fan-freaking-tastic. But if not, just set down what's not for you and pick up what is. The first thing that I get asked all the time is Facebook or Instagram. And where should I be building? Do I have to get on Instagram? Do I have to get, do I need to be over here? And if Facebook, if you are still finding leads, you're still in great conversations, that is a great place to build a business. And I have so many people on my team that are still exclusively on Facebook. And I honestly think so many people have moved over to Instagram that it's probably, maybe you haven't been there for a while, like being back on Facebook, people are receptive there. And I think when I think about social media, there's this real sweet spot when you first start, because if you've ever heard the term, you need to give value, right? And like, what does that mean? And value is so subjective. There's people that I follow for value because I'm following them for health tips or education on different things. There's people that I'm following for value that just make me laugh. And I'm like, I cannot believe you're saying that on the internet, but I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch you. And there's people I follow on the internet that make me think, or make me feel, or I'm learning, like I love their spiritual walk, or how they're like, there's so many different reasons that you follow people, right? And that you're getting value from. And so it doesn't have to mean that you're an expert. Praise God. It does not mean that you have to be someone's guru, or like, just like you have to. The next question that I get, what I will say about Instagram is, statistically, people come on Instagram more willing to buy, more willing to interact with brands, and they are used to being sold to on there. It's just like, it's everywhere. And so people are more ready to buy, and they're more ready to buy from strangers. And so I have built on Facebook. I've built on Instagram. I've made connections and found business builders and all the things on both. And I think you can do both. But I will say, as someone that I feel like I am strong in social media, I think it is real hard to build on two. I would say put all your focus on one. There's some weird things. You can do it. You can try it. Everything that I see, study, and my personal experience says, if you take your post on Facebook and you connect it to your Instagram, or if I put it on Instagram and you connect it to your Facebook, it actually messes with your visibility and people seeing your post on both. The apps somehow, even though they're all meta, like what in the actual, but it doesn't work as well. So I would say pick one. If you are just, like, nope, I'm definitely doing two. My suggestion would be, let's say that you're wanting to grow the most on Instagram, even though you get a lot of engagement on Facebook. I would say the one that you're really wanting to grow on, post on that first, and then have it in your little calendar that like 3 days later, you're going to come back and you can post the same thing on Facebook. And then you can double dip if you just really, really want to do that and you feel organized and that feels energizing to you to do that. But a lot of times what happens is you've got same people on both, like not all, but a lot of crossover, and they're just going to interact on one. So most likely. So if they interact, they engage on one, then they're not going to come interact, engage, comment on the second app too. So you want to prioritize the one that you're wanting to grow, because otherwise you're like, you're splitting your engagement, and that's telling the apps people aren't really liking this, even though they are. It's split. And so I would prioritize one of your apps. I don't see that being the same on your stories. So if you want to connect your stories, that doesn't seem to have any effect, and then people are seeing your face on both. So I think that's totally fine. The other thing I get asked all the time is, do I have to have a niche? Do I have to have a niche if I'm going, or a niche, or wherever you are in the country, if I'm going to grow? And that also is up to you. What I have found is that a personal account is a little bit harder to grow, because a lot of people are happy Christian mamas, that are just sharing about their kids, and they're sharing about, oh, Johnny lost his tooth, and Cindy hit a home run, and watch, we're going to show her run all these bases. Here she is. Oh, she kind of tripped there. Okay, we're going to come all the way back around, and you're watching the whole thing, and you care about that, and your mama cares about that, and your best friends probably care about that. But other than that, we're all watching different Johnny and Cindy's run the bases. And so we're going to go right on by. Right. And this is from someone who loves to see kids run the bases. But if you have that value to add, people are going to pay attention to you. And I do want to say, you can be a happy Christian mama, like just kind of have a boring life and grow on social media. You can. Okay. And I am truth. I mean, I'm proof of that. Because I have tried all kinds of niches. I've, put on my bio that I'm a guru at this, or your go-to girl for this or this. And I never really stick to it. I never can just like sink into one. And I love the people that do, because I follow their accounts. But I just want to, you don't have to have a niche to grow. What you do need to grow is shareable content. And so what you want to be thinking about, there's 3 types of content, because the best way to go to grow is to quote unquote go viral. Okay. Now, viral is a subjective term, right? Viral could mean sometimes you hear people go viral, and that means I got 5,000 views on something. Sometimes it might be 100,000. I feel like this last week or so, maybe right before convention, I made a reel, and it had 100,000 views, which isn't like extraordinary, but that's a lot for me. But it's not like just something anyway. But I have 300 new followers from that, and I've been watching it, and it was one that was about my like faith. And so the comments and the shares and the messages that are coming in, I'm like, oh, these are my ideal client. These are the people, if you're sharing something, it has 5,000 or so, I think, I don't remember what it was, shares. And this is all about your faith and caring about your spiritual legacy and things like that. Those are my ideal client. And so what also can happen is you might share. One time I shared something, and it was, a funny parenting thing, whatever, of like, maybe y'all seen this. It was me copying someone else's. It was a trend. And it was literally like 6 seconds. And I was like acting like I was tapping on my phone, like I was texting a kid. And so we were texting back and forth. And then me saying like, hey, it's saying you've got a 0 in this class. And then the kid, makes a little doo-doo text noise. And the kid comes back and says, oh, sorry, the teacher hasn't upgraded the kids. The teacher hasn't updated the grades. I can't say it right. And if you have teenagers, this is your life. Like, this is your life. And so it had like 11 million views or something crazy, which again, I'd seen it 10 times. I don't know why people were still sharing it. I saw it shared all over, but I still remade it and thought it was funny. And so that had thousands of people come in. But I don't know if those were my necessarily ideal client, because I don't post stuff like that. I don't post funny things all the time, right? So I'm sure I lost a lot of those. But my point in that is you're looking for content that's going to resonate. And when I say shareable, it doesn't necessarily mean shareable to your story. It could mean that they shared it to their mom or to their girl chat, right? Or to their friend or to whoever. And just that it's something that someone was like, oh my gosh, we just were talking about this, or they want to put it in their girl chat. And so be thinking you're looking for content that is going to make people feel something, and that they're thinking, my favorite thing that I think about all the time is when people think, oh, that reminds me of me, or oh, me too, or that feels relatable. Those are typically going to be your most shared content. So that there's the three ways, there's the three different types of kind of shareable content. There's the content that connects. That's what makes them feel like related to, makes them feel something. And so that may not, I think I said this wrong. The three types of content that you want to be posting. The first one would be one that connects. And that's kind of like building your brand. It's building your rapport with them. And if you are going to have a personal brand, you're not going to pick a, like, you know, I'm posting gardening, or I'm teaching people how to bathe their dogs, or whatever your niche is going to be. That if you're going to do the personal brand, kind of ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? And that could even be like, if people, the way I think about it a lot is of like a bunch of women that you love to hang out with, that go to your church or your baseball mom friends or whatever it is, if they're sitting at a dinner table somewhere and they say, oh, I was just thinking about this, or I was wondering about this, or I'm having a problem with this. What would you want someone at that table to say? Oh my gosh, you should follow my friend Ashley for that. She posts the best stuff about that. What would you want to be known for? What would you want someone to say? Oh, you should follow my friend Jamie Joe, and she talks about that all the time. So be thinking about that, even if it's not like, again, you're the expert, you're the go-to person, but just, is there some kind of like, whether it's your values or your interest or something you just get really enthusiastic about, and you can have three to five of these that you kind of love and that energizes you, but you're consistently posting about each of them. That's really helpful. So, but content that connects, the content that grows, that's typically going to be trends, or just content that when you're seeing it or you're thinking about it, it feels like a tip. It feels like people are feeling seen or heard. It makes them laugh. It surprises them. Those tend to be some of the content that gets shared the most. And then you also want to be posting content that sells. So content that connects, content that grows, and content that sells. I have found, for me, I post primarily, as far as Plexus, about the products. And I do post probably 20% of the time about the business opportunity, but I'm mainly posting about the products. And then when I'm reaching out to people, I'm 95% of the time I'm reaching out about the business. Like, I don't typically reach out about the products. I post about the products, but I don't reach out to people as much about the products. I mean, I know people absolutely do that. It's just, I would rather spend time on a really great reach out message to recruit a business builder, and then post a lot about the products so that they see, oh, this is what she's doing to build this business. And this is how she's doing that. So that's, again, there's all kinds of strategies. That's what I've done over the years. Most of my business builders have been from personal reach outs. I obviously have had people that have come to me. I have a Sapphire on my team, and she came to me because her husband was watching my videos and her husband told her to do it. So, I mean, there are needle in a haystack situations, but for the most part, it has been through me reaching out, and hella follow up, a lot of follow up with people, a lot of follow up. And another thing I want to say is, if you do try a brand, you do try a direction, you do try a niche, you can try it for like 90 days, give it time to kind of settle in. And then if you don't like it, you can always change. I've changed so many times. Emily Roberts is someone that I love and think she's hilarious. And she's changed so many times. Trisha Regger changed so many times. Some of the people that I've seen have the most success on social media in our company, they've changed. So you don't have to feel like you're committing to something, that you're putting your bio statement on there and it is your new identity and you can never change. Like that just feels scary to people. And so you don't have to think about that. Another thing that I want you to think about, this is something we talk about in our 6-figure systems course, is the difference between a plan and a strategy. And so when you think about, oh, I've got a plan. I've got a plan for my social media and I'm going to post every day. Like that's a plan, right? Like, okay, I'm going to plan. But a strategy is different. Strategy is going to have a theory. There's a reason why you're doing what you're going to do and you have a desired result. And it's 2 things. It's clear and it's doable. It's clear where Stephanie can look at Jamie Jo and explain to her, this is what I'm doing. This is who I want to attract. This is why I think they're going to follow me. And this is why I believe this is going to be successful. It's very clear. And then there are action steps to get you there. It's got like a content strategy. You know, I'm going to be posting this type of content because I want it to connect in this way. And I'm going to be posting this type of content because I feel like this is kind of my wheelhouse. And this is interesting to me. And I think it's going to attract this kind of person, because you want to be thinking about how you're going to be showing up. You want to be thinking about who you are talking to. Who are the kind of people that you want to attract? Who are the kind of people that you don't want to attract? Sometimes that's helpful. Like you're not out there looking for just everybody. And when you are thinking about those people that you want to attract, what are some like words? What are some things that, again, the way that you're talking, that you're thinking, she's in my head? Like sometimes when I see people that I love and they just copy and paste an exact post, which I mean, we share all kinds of like testimonies and content, product content, that kind of thing. But when it's like more personal and things like that, and you're taking someone's words and personality and all those things, and you're just trying to slap it on your picture, it doesn't resonate. And so it's not only is it ineffective, it makes you lose trust, because the people that are following you and they're listening to you, like, that doesn't even sound like her. And the reason this works is you're marketing to your personal network. And so you want to be talking to them in your real voice. I constantly am reading things back that I've written or that and I'm like, is this how I would say it? Like my stuff, I was an English major, but it's going to have grammatical snafus all in it, because it's not how I don't speak in perfect English, right? It's more, I want to be conversational. I want it to sound like I say all the time, gonna wanna, like you're gonna wanna, like, cause that's how I would say it. And so I want them to read it like they're just reading it as if I was talking to them. So looking on here. Oh, the last thing that I would just say is, as much as I love social media, as much as I love the marketing, all those things, if you do not personally reach out to people, most of the time, all that you're going to end up being is third-party validation to your personal network if you're not having those conversations when it comes to recruiting. And there's just like nothing worse than someone that you're like, oh my gosh, she's been on my dream team list. She's been on my chicken list. I knew that girl would be so great at this. And she goes and joins someone else because you didn't have the conversation with her. And just know that so often it's going to take so much follow-up. Even if they ghost you, even if they say it's not the time, like it's still like not blowing them up. I mean, there's honestly several of my jewels I was reaching out to for over a year. Like they'd order like over a year of reaching out to them and saying, hey, this made me think of you. And when you are following up, you want to bring new information. You're not just checking in. You're not just circling back. You're bringing them new information. Hey, I read this testimony today and this made me think of you. Hey, I saw this article today and it was just what we were talking about. Or I saw this Diamond documentary and it reminded me of you. Or they posted something and you're reaching out in a private message about something that they'd posted or they'd said. And so looking for ways to continue the conversation, not just follow up like, hey, are you ready to join my team? Okay. That was kind of what I was going to tell y'all. That has made a difference for me. I'm checking the chat. Okay.
I love that, Rebecca, that you just said, like, bring something of value with that follow-up. Otherwise, you just get in this hamster wheel of, hey, just following up. Are you ready? You know, and I think that's such good stuff.
Well, and every once in a while that works. Like, oh yeah. I was just thinking of you. I mean, so it's not that does it ever circle back, you know. I mean, at least you are circling back, but I found that it's a lot more effective if you are bringing them something valuable to keep the conversation going.
Yes. You guys had, you and Melissa had, I was like pulling out all my notes as you were talking from your course, but a couple of research exercises that you gave, like the 10 by 10 by 10 or 13 by 4 process. Do you mind
Yeah.
just touching on that real quick? Like, is what I hear often too, especially people who've been in this as long as me, it's like, I don't even know what to post anymore stuff. Like, or I just feel stuck. Or maybe they take some time and they're, you're 3 days, 4 days off social media and you're just like, what do I post? And I found these exercises to be very helpful.
Okay.
With
Totally. Yes, absolutely. So, like the 10 by 10 by 10, I've been a few weeks after, but yes. Okay. The 10 by 10 is you are finding 10 accounts. Okay. So go find 10 accounts. And these are people that you just enjoy following them, that you're like, oh, what is this person talking about today? And it makes you want to go follow them. And actually, it might take you it's actually a little harder than you think to go find 10 that you're like, and this could be someone. I remember Jen Hatmaker was one of mine that she, for a while, was like a Christian Bible study writer in person. And I still follow her because I think the way she writes is incredible. I think she's a writer, but just her captions, I don't even know that she posts. I guess she does post reels, but it's just her storytelling and her writing is so gripping that she was one of my 10 because I was like, I love the way she writes. Some people, it might be, there's a girl that's like a mommy kind of, I don't know that she has necessarily a niche, but I like the way that she was doing kind of like these video diaries and she's felt super relatable. And so I had kind of these reasons I liked this person, right? So I had 10. You may have someone that's like in Plexus that you're like, this person, I love following them. But whoever it is, it can be your 10. Scroll through. It's easiest to do this on Reels, but you can go through and it may not, just because Reels would be able to show views because you're looking for like 10 viral or top performing posts of theirs. Okay. So it might be likes and comments kind of things. You can also see the shares. You can't see the saves, but you can see the shares. So kind of looking at that, oh, wow, a lot of people are responding to this, or a lot of people are sharing this. So be looking for those. And then for like, you're looking at the person, you're looking at their 10 posts, and why do you think that performed well? Okay. So if you take your 10 people and you took their 10 top performing posts, so 10 by 10 is 100. So that should give you 100 days worth of inspo content, right? Not that you're taking their post and you're, plagiarizing it. You're not like totally taking like their text, but you're looking at how can I use this as inspiration, and what it will do. Number one, you probably will have some posts that pop off. And then also it's going to give you the best way to analyze what's going to work and not work for you is after you have done it. Because if you just say, oh, well, that kind of content isn't going to work for me, or that strategy isn't going to work, you're going to start nitpicking and overthinking and judging it because you are, our brains try to protect us and all the things. But if you analyze on the back end, you're going to learn so much. So tell yourself, even if you do, for 90 days, whatever, maybe you just pick 3 a week, however you want to do it, it's going to give you some clarity on what your audience likes and responds to. and what energizes you, what's fun for you to make, what makes you want to show up. The reason I think so many people are burned out on social media is they're just in this constant content creation hamster wheel. There's no strategy. And so they're not really seeing any results, but they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to do another post today. I've got to do another post today. I don't even know what to post. I don't know why I'm posting. I don't know why sometimes content works and why it doesn't. And so at the end of the week, or, maybe the end of the week, end of the 30 days, whatever works for you, start tracking it and seeing what worked, and try to look at it like analytically. You're not really looking, like, don't be emotional over it. It doesn't matter. Like, just be thinking, like, put on your marketing hat and say, I want to know, why is this working, or why is it not working? And then, I mean, it would be so helpful if y'all got in little groups at the end. Maybe y'all do a 90-day challenge, and at the end should be showing and like be discussing, why did this work? The most money I pay for anything is feedback. If you can get an accountability partner that you trust to give you valuable feedback, that is so huge, because then you're able to see what's working and what's not. So, and then the 13 by 4 is take 13 questions, okay? Or objections, or just thoughts that people have about whether it's your products or your business opportunity, network marketing as a whole. Kind of take 13 that you hear a lot, or that you have thoughts on, and give 4 answers to each of those questions. So you've got your 13, and then each one gets 4. And I think that's 52. And so that gives you a post a week that you're touching on a different aspect of these, kind of addressing different parts of your business. And it also is just, if you have all that going, your 100 posts, your 13 by 4, you're going to create a content vault. And one thing I want you to hear me say is, you can absolutely use and reuse content. You absolutely can. Like, whether it's every 90 days, if something does well, wait 90 days and try to post it again. There's a post that I do every single year, and every single year it gets basically the same amount of likes, the same amount of shares, the same amount of comments about people saying it, just, put them all in their feels and all this. And I've posted it every single International Women's Day or whatever for 3 or 4 years. And it's kind of like my testimony mixed in with some stuff about my dad and some things like that. And anyway, I post it every year. I change out the picture, but the story is the same. And you may have some stories like that. Another thing you can do is go through the favorites on your phone, or pictures that you just love that are on your phone. I bet there's a story or an emotion or something that's tied to those pictures that matters to you, and that share those stories. The more that you, and when you're telling the story, be thinking about, number one, the more that you can say you and not I, the more that you're putting the focus on the person that's reading it, because that's what they want to do. They don't care about us and what we're going through, or how they want to know, what's in it for them. And is there anything that you can kind of tie to it, that there's either a teaching lesson, or just a thought, or a nugget, or something that meant something to you? Is there anything that you can kind of make, even if it is Johnny ran around the bases? Is there something in that you can kind of be like, and this is why I love, this is why this meant something to me. This is why I love baseball. This is what we came home and talked about, whatever. And it's not that every post needs to be a Dr. Phil episode, but there's just something in it that people feel something, relate to you when they're reading your post. And so, yeah, the 10 by 10 and 13 by 4 are definitely ways that you can kind of get your wheels spinning on content creation, especially when you're in a slump.
I love that. You guys, please unmic and ask questions, or just share some feedback.
I just want to unmic and just kind of like add some fuel to the fire. I did yours and Melissa's training that y'all did before your big systems course. I did the $50 one, I think, that y'all did. And that was one of the strategies you talked about, was the 10 by 10 by 10. And I've shared that with my team, and I've started implementing it on my own Instagram account. And I've had 2 of my reels. I don't do it every time. I maybe do it once a week. 2 of the reels that I've posted have gone crazy viral, and I've gained like 5,000 or 6,000 followers just from
I
doing
love it.
like,
Yes.
and it's social proof. And the cool thing about it is I've tagged both of the creators both times, just because I like pretty much word for word recreated their content, and I wanted to tag them. Those
Yes.
creators have also grown their accounts from me resharing, and it's just grown into a cool relationship. So
I love that.
absolutely works. It absolutely works.
Thank you for sharing that, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yes, it does absolutely work.
Mhm.
And it's just not reinventing the wheel. It's not thinking you have to, it's seeing, okay, what's happening over here, and then being able to see, why did this work? And then how you can recreate that in a different way or reuse it in a couple months.
Rebekah, I wanted to point out something that I thought was so cool, that you said that probably 90% of your business builders came from your personal reach outs. Because I'm always so scared to reach out to people. But the one person that I have seen watch my stories for 2 years, I've seen her name pop up. She's never answered a poll, never dropped a name. I texted her last night and asked her if she'd be interested. And she said, I'm so interested. Give me everything you got.
See, I mean,
Like,
is
why
that
did I
not so? It gives me goosebumps.
now, but the reach out.
Yes. Way to go, Brooke. Way to be brave and courageous. And that's so good. That's so good. Melissa and I we recorded a podcast today that was coming out tomorrow about kind of, we said our real thoughts on convention. And we were not like, we were both going, but we weren't like super excited about it going into it. And so we were just kind of sharing. We'd been so many times, we both had all kinds of stuff going at home, and it was just like packing the suitcase and getting all this stuff and all. Anyway, we were kind of sharing about that today, but, somehow in that we started talking about courage when we were just kind of talking back and forth. And I was even saying on there at one point, I'm like, I don't care what diamond you look at and think, that girl's fearless. That girl's so bold. That girl's so brave. Like, she's so confident, all that. I mean, Melissa's my best friend, and I don't know a lot of bigger, bolder bulldogs than Melissa. And I have had so many like intimate conversations with her over the years. And basically every other diamond, we're all nervous or scared or uncertain or need to like muster up courage at times. So whoever it is that you're looking at, like, that person doesn't have that. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They're all feeling uncertain or unsure, or what's this person going to think, or what happens if this happens. All of it. They're just doing it anyway. And I do think that the more that you flex that confidence muscle, you're bolder going into it, especially when you know what the compensation has and all the success stories. And I mean, I used to watch a diamond documentary every single night. Every night in the bathtub, I would watch a diamond documentary. And I did that, I mean, probably the first 2 years about me. I watched them all the time, and I would watch them over and over again. And I think the more you hear those stories, number one, you start to see characteristics, and being able, like, you're talking to someone and you're able to say, oh my gosh, I just watched a diamond documentary. It is reminding me of you. Can I send this to you? And there's something about saying something to someone when they're like, you remind me of someone. Well, they want to watch the video because they're like, well, why do I remind you of someone? They're like curious. And I've done that so many times. And it just also, it builds your belief, and it reminds you all these different stories of people that are from all different walks of life, all different educations or background, whatever it is. And they've all seen success here. But I'm telling you that feeling, like, if you think that I don't walk around my room in a circle before I send a message, sometimes, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Like, pumping up, like, you got this, you're going to say this, you're going to say this. And I'm practicing it. And I'm saying it before I leave the voice text. So, and I have sponsored, I think, almost 1,000 people. Like, I have sponsored a lot of people, and I still just get so nervous. I get so nervous. So, yes, it's okay. It's okay. someone, I think Christy Hull on our team call last night, she said, can't remember who said this at convention. Maybe it was the Iron Cowboy guy, but he said, life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. And I think that that could even be said in like Plexus world. Like, it's not that it gets easier to reach out to people. It's not that it gets easier to keep showing up and doing all the things that you do in this business. It's just you get stronger and your muscles get stronger and going, I know what to do. And I do think the systems and the processes and the things, it gives you a clear path on, okay, and next you do this, and now you're going to do this, and you're going to say this, and that does give you more confidence as well.
I
Yeah,
just wanted to say this is so, so good. I was the one that flagged you down in the coffee line and told you about the podcast, but I loved the episode you did about finding your builders. And I think it was Melissa that was so vulnerable and shared that she just was like messaging someone, but really staying in a friend zone. And she ended up being, it sounded like someone who has done really, really well with
Oh, you want to know who it is? Emily Roberts. It's Emily Roberts.
Is it really?
Emily, they were like high school friends. That's why she called it the Emily Roberts, or she, we on our social, we called it the Emily Roberts episode or something, but she was friends with her forever. They'd gone to high school together, or, well, Emily's a bunch younger anyway, but had never said, hey, you should be on my team. And that she
Yes. But I love that you said that
someone else.
tonight about
It's
like
happened to all of us.
don't
Yeah.
ask. We're just third party validation for someone else that's willing to ask.
It's so true.
Like
It's so
that
true.
gives me like a ton of bricks.
Well, and I will say, like what Brooke's talking about, there's someone that's seeing her stories and that they're paying attention to her. If you're not posting about, like, if you message someone and they're like, well, wait, what's Plexus? I don't ever see you talking about it. I don't ever, yeah, what are you even talking about? But that person was primed because she's been sharing, she's been telling stories, she's been sharing experiences or testimonies or product, whatever it is. And they're like, actually, I am interested in that. But if they hadn't, it was just a total rando and you hadn't had any kind of preliminary information there, she would not have had that response. But I mean, how awesome the person is like, yes, I've been thinking about it. I'm totally interested. I mean, that's the best. That's the best. So, but yes, I mean, yay on you, Brooke, for setting that up where she would be interested in that and paying attention to your stories. That's so smart to be saying, okay, this person's, their picture's popping up. I know they're paying attention. I mean, why not reach out to them and say, is this something you'd be thinking of?
And Rebekah, wouldn't you say, like, for the people in this who have been doing it for a long time, maybe they have been in a space where, you know, because I know I've done that too over the years, where I've never stepped back away from my business, but gosh, if I don't post on social media for 3-4 days, I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I feel like I'm launching a whole business all over again. And then we get in our heads about that.
Yeah.
You know? So can you just say that, like, you guys,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to jump, like, get right back on the horse, get right back on the bike, because people,
Yes.
you know,
And you don't have to announce that you're back. You don't have to announce that you've been gone and that, you know, you've fallen off the wagon, but this time you're getting back on. You don't have to do that. People are just thinking, oh, I've been missing her stuff, or the algorithm has popped up and it's been like, you don't have to do that. Just, but yes, 100%. That's happened to me. I mean, having a baby and a toddler, the last couple of years, there have been just, it's been kind of up and down the last couple of years, figuring that out. And it will be like sometimes a week and I'll have fallen off the wagon and it'll be like, I don't know. Do I just like, do I hit start? Like what do I do? Like, I feel like I'm a brand new person. So that you just do it. And after a couple days, you're like, oh yeah, you're back on the bike. But, don't overthink it. Just post it. Heck, repost something that you've already posted. Go back. I mean, one great thing is the whole memories tool in your Facebook or your Instagram. see what you posted a year ago. Might be a great thing to repost and share with your community, because I guarantee you they do not remember. I guarantee you they will not know. And you might have a new picture or something to share with it, but you can absolutely go back to post that you posted a while ago.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Do you guys have any more questions? Anybody? Please go follow the Ambition Coalition on Instagram and listen to their podcast, you guys. It's so valuable. This is truly an opportunity to sit in a room with two diamonds and listen to them talk about leadership and teams and all the things. So please do that. Rebekah, this was so good. I so appreciate you. I didn't mean to throw a curveball at you if you had something on your
No,
mind.
you're
I knew, girl,
fine.
I knew you could roll with it. That's what I said. We're laid back. You could sit here and talk about anything. We're just happy to hear it. So thank you so much.
If y'all think of a question or something, I'm very accessible, Melissa and I, but on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. We're in all the places. So feel free to reach out. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a good night. Bye, y'all.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.